Generally, with relational health, I categorize our relationships in three different areas. I say one is like a parental relationship, and I say parental because parental relationships usually is like from the love emotion and love feeling that you have for a parent to a child, or from a child to a parent. Now, also included in that parental relationship is love that you have for another individual, like you would have for a parent or a child. Like we may come in contact with people and we learn to care about them and love who they are. And it goes from that casual feeling of, oh, I wish you well, you be on your way, to the fact that you may interact with them more and you develop a loving, caring, concern type of relationship with them. So it's parental in the sense that there's a it's more than just a casual type of a love attraction that you have for them. And then there is a platonic love. And this it comes down to three P's. And that is the parental love, sure. And I want to be able to stay on those topics: your parental love, your platonic love, and your pleasure type of relationship. So you have relationships with individuals who you have a concern or care for, like you don't want anything to happen to them and you want to make sure you protect them, watch over them. And in as small as a matter as it could be a coworker. You love them to an extent where you have some interaction and you care about one. You may only interact with one another at work, but that is a parental like relationship, because there's a concern and a care, a sense of you want to protect them and they want to protect you. So that's that parental relationship, as I just explained. And then the platonic relationship is the relationship that you would have with an individual that somebody you come in contact with. There's no general need of embracing or connecting, or we hug one another. It's just platonic. You run into each other, you see one another whenever you see one another. It could be that business relationship where all we do is business and we keep it moving. And sometimes that business relationship can turn to a parental relationship, in that you develop greater love for that individual because you built a different type of relationship with them. And then relational health, having a great relational health, there is another portion of teaching that I'll do at another time. It's like God actually showed me like 7 different ways that people invest into relationships. And I had someone do workshop, 7 different people do a workshop on how individuals, they enter into relationships like they enter into money relationships. Like some people enter into relationships like they have a bank account. Now, a bank account is stable, we would both say. You put your money in it. As long as you keep putting money into it, you're going to always have that bank account. You're going to always be able to go back to that bank account because you've invested into it. But the thing about that is that type of relationship is like having a bank account, just a regular bank account. Generally no interest, meaning that you're getting no return from that relationship. But as long as you keep putting and contributing to it, what's going to happen is you're going to keep it. You're going to still have it, even though you're not getting a return from it, but you are getting some benefits from it. You're getting benefits because it's a place where you're able to do transactions in terms of paying bills, having it as a sense of stability. It shows, if you got a checking account, that matters opposed to someone who may not, when it comes to purchasing a home, when it comes to even doing auto pay and things of that nature from it. So it matters whether you do it from a debit card or a bank account. So then there is that people enter into relationships like they enter, into have bank accounts. And that is, that as long as you have it, as I said, you will, as long as you contribute to it, you'll always have that relationship, even though you're not getting that great of a return. But there is a reason why you have it. That's one type of relationship. I'll do a series on that at a later time. But then getting back to the relational health, where I was talking about the parental type of relationship you have with people, where you just show general love and concern and care, empathy. You show you check up on them, they may check up on you. It's more than just that platonic, meaning that platonic one may be one that you don't check up on one another. You may treat one another well when you're in one another's presence. You don't wish one another harm, but it's just a platonic relationship. It's nothing romantic, nothing but maybe two neighbors walking past and how you doing. Those are those platonic relationships, and it can range from one to another level. In terms of platonic. And then you have those pleasure relationships. Whatever type of pleasure you receive from that relationship. It could be a pleasure relationship where you're getting some counseling. You're getting pleasure out of it because it's helping you to be able to release some frustration or some joy, some pain, some happiness. So there's some pleasure in it because you're allowed to use your emotions with this relationship. So then, and that would fall under relationships you have with your spouse, relationships you have with another person. It could be, and I wouldn't categorize your best girlfriend or your best buddy as a pleasure relationship. I would categorize that in the parental relationship because it's a deeper type of love. It's a deeper type of love. You don't just love them like, oh, I know that, bro. But this person you spend time with, that's your buddy because you interact, you trust one another, you gain some loyalty towards one another. And overall, that is what that pleasure or that parental relationship is for that one. But the pleasure relationship may be the person you go to for the kissing and the hugging, or the cuddling and the cozy, as they say now a day, Netflix and I heard somebody say something, gosh, it had Netflix and chill, and then there was something, oh God, something and live. Oh, I wish I would have remembered it. But I really enjoyed reading it while I was on social media prior to now. So it's pretty cool, to be able to have relational health. So generally that's what we're talking about when it comes to relational health. And sometimes, you have to know when it's time. And I was speaking to a young lady today, and she was saying something her mother had said, knowing when to let go. Specifically, I can't say it exactly how she said it, but in my notes, because I had already planned to do this before, my time I needed to take off because I wasn't feeling so fantastic. But and just seeing my notes and listening to what she said, I'm like, this is the exact same thing she was saying. And it says, how am I handling letting go? Letting go of relationships, because sometimes you have to let go of some relationships to have to be healthy. If a relationship is not serving you to a point where you're benefiting from it, or you can say you feel good about yourself after holding that conversation, or or just being around a person, then that is the type of person you want to be in your life. You want to always evaluate your relationships and see how you can build on the relationship, or how the relationship is causing you to grow, because every relationship that you are a part of, it literally should give you some growth, some development. Because if it's true relationships that you're having with people, then you want honesty. You want somebody to share with you your flaws, your challenges, so that you can, look back at yourself. We all have to look back at ourselves. It's none of us that have arrived, no matter, what level I believe that we've come to, because, you know, we interact with different people. And I think when you show love towards another person, and you're able to be in a healthy relationship with them, that matters, because we all need someone in our life that we can have healthy relationships with. And it's great to have relationships with your siblings, and it's great to have relationship with your cousins and your matriarchs and your patriarchs, and those who are descendants, those who are under you. I mean, it's just the best feeling in the world. And I'm sure many of you can attest to it when you walk into a room and see the people you love, even though you haven't seen them maybe in a while. And it's like it brings out a whole nother sense of love for you, because it's like, I'm glad to see you. And now you're able to express that, hug or kiss one another. That relational health and going around the people who care about you and people who you care about makes all the difference. And we've always heard, don't go. And the first time I've ever heard, I was in a church service, and someone said, don't go where you're tolerated, go where you're celebrated. And it was a period of time in my life when I was just being tolerated, being put up with. I thought it was, something different, but I just realized that's what it was. So a minister had just ministered a word to me, and it was like, don't go where you're tolerated, go where you're celebrated. And it takes some time to embrace, when people are sharing things with you, because honesty will allow you to say, okay, well, maybe I could do that a little different. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sometimes the phone rings quite a bit, and I'm in the middle of a recording. Now I am going to get back to this. Yeah. So how am I handling letting go? There are some relationships that we definitely have to let go. We have to sometimes keep things at an arm's distance, because resume. We're at keep things at an arm's distance, because we have what different types of relationships: those parental relationships, those platonic relationships, and those pleasure relationships. You could remember them as PPP. PPP. That's how I remember them. PPP. Parental, platonic, and pleasure. Yep. So it's all purposeful. So how are you letting go? And are you able to move on once you let go? Because letting go is one thing, but moving on is another. And moving on may take a little while longer because of the attachment. Sometimes attachments are hard to separate from. So if you have an attachment to someone and you know you need to let it go, it may take time, depending upon the purpose your relationship existed. If it's one of those erotic, or as I said, the pleasure relationships, sometimes those pleasure relationships is because you're getting something out of it. Who's going to keep burning their finger on a stove unless there's some pleasure they're deriving from it? So we keep seeing individuals because there's some pleasure we're deriving out of it. Don't be surprised if one of your friends like to hang around you because they're getting some pleasure out of being around you. Either you are creating some positive endorphins in them to make them feel good about themselves. Sometimes I like to go to comedy shows because when I'm not feeling so great, when I'm dealing with even letting go or moving on from relationships, I need to do something to fill up that time. So in order to do something to fill up that time, I try to fill it up with things to do, because this is all a part of my relational health, having a good relational health. Okay, so healthy. I'm healthy because I'm able to walk on. I'm able to move on. I'm able to let go because that's what makes me healthy. If it's an unhealthy attachment in that relationship, you're calling constantly, you're texting to the point where you have to get like a restraining order on the individual, that's excessive. And that's unnecessary, to have to be made to do or not to do. That external pressure. So just being in a position where it's moving on, letting go, and growing up. Growing up. Sometimes relationships don't work out. It could be, how you treat one another. It could be that you're not treating a person the way they want to be treated and they no longer can endure it. And they just got to get away for their own mental health. And I think people have different reasons. The truth be told, there are some people who break up because, maybe the romantic part of the relationship isn't there anymore. And that spark. Some people marry or some people connect for a security, but there was no romanticism there. So that's something you have to deal with, because if you started out because it's an arrangement and you're not attracted to one another, as time goes on, you may become attracted to one another. It's what you put in, because people have different attractions. It's attractive when somebody can pay the bills. And yes, it is. It's attractive when you can get some help around the house if you need it. It's attractive, when you need help with the kids and, that spouse is there for you. It's attractive when you want a hot meal at the end of the day and it's sitting there waiting for you, or you're able to make sure that you get the food in. So those are attractive things. It's attractive when, I like perfume and you buy me a bottle. That's attractive. You know what I mean? That causes me to want to draw near to you. And that's how people feel. If this person is, making me feel those good feelings, those good vibes, I'm going to want to spend time around that person. That's because I want to build that relationship. I want to build that relationship. So building a healthy relationship takes work, to say the least. It takes a lot of work. And I'm not in a relationship. I don't have a significant other. I do get an opportunity to date when I can. I haven't been really dating lately because physically I haven't been up to it, And, at some point, temperature's changing. So I may decide to start going on dates. But, because you want to build a healthy relationship. You want to get to know people. And you don't want it to be clouded with intimacy. Sex in the very beginning. It's like, no, you don't want to be clouded. If it's something that you want to build a relationship with someone. Everybody got different views, and do whatever you feel like you want to do, because it's your life, it's your body. Work out your own soul salvation, as the scripture says. I ain't telling you what to do or what not to do, because you're going to do what you want to do anyway, and I encourage you to do that. One thing Jesus does is give us a choice. He said, choose this day who you want to serve. So you got a choice, and nobody has a right to take your choice of what you want to do away, because I wouldn't want anybody to take my choice away. But I'm sharing with you my views on a matter. And I feel like a healthy relationship, relational health, has a lot to do with you, how you allow others to treat you, how you treat others, and how you nurture your parental relationships. And as I said before, that's like the endearing feeling. It's not just a mother and a child, or a father and a child. It's that endearing love. I care about this person beyond the normal, okay, that's platonic. I see that person, I don't wish harm on them, no bad to come to them, but it's just that we see one another, we keep it moving, and that's all it is. But then the pleasure relationships are those erotic relationships, or those relationships where we gain some pleasure out of. And I gain pleasure out of watching some of these people eat noodles. I love to see people eat, and I don't know why I'm fascinated by it, but I'm like, because I be feeling like, gosh, I wonder how that tastes. Man, it's good to be able to watch some of these programs, because it passes time away, and it gives you something to do when there may not be anything to do. So in relational health, sometimes I get lonely. And that's the truth of the matter. In relational health, my honesty is that I get lonely. I believe God gave us one another to be able to solve that lonely problem. I do believe that. But lonely for the feel and touch of my children is a different type of lonely for the feel and touch of my companion. It's a different type of lonely for the feel and touch of my girlfriends, or a different type of lonely for the feel and touch of, my mental team. Because there has to be some people mentally that you able to connect with, and be able to share ideas and talents and abilities and goals and futures. Need people to push you, and people you can push, people you can encourage, and people that can encourage you. And don't ever take for granted. I'm gonna share with you relational health. That's why that's what I'm talking about. So I was struggling with I shared with you in past videos. I think I'm gonna cut this off, and then I'll start it back, because I'm doing a video. I won't cut off the live, but I will cut off the recording, because sometimes it doesn't allow me to record a long time. But I'll end it, and I'll start it back up.